Betrayal in the Gonzales Gang.
In the heart of Mexico City, where shadows dance along the alleys and whispers of heists echo through the night, stood the hideout of the Gonzales Gang. Javier Gonzales, a man of cunning and steel, gathered his loyal lieutenants under a veil of secrecy. Miguel, his steadfast right hand, stood tall beside him. Carlos, the imposing enforcer, cast a watchful eye over the room. And there was Sofia, with her sharp mind and quick fingers, poised over maps and blueprints spread across a weathered wooden table. The night descended like a velvet curtain over the city, cloaking the Gonzales Gang in darkness as they executed their meticulously crafted plan. On a desolate road outside the city limits, where the moonlight danced on the pavement like shards of silver, the convoy of armored vehicles appeared, a gleaming prize guarded by men sworn to protect it. Miguel, commanding with a steely gaze and a voice that brooked no argument, led the charge. Carlos, a mountain of muscle and raw power, effortlessly subdued the guards. Sofia, her fingers flying over a laptop screen with the finesse of a virtuoso, dismantled the security systems with surgical precision. In that fleeting moment, amidst the chaos and the rush of adrenaline, they were invincible. The diamonds, coveted and gleaming, were theirs for the taking. But in the shadows, suspicions began to stir, and the seeds of betrayal took root. The aftermath of triumph should have been a celebration, a toast to their audacious success. But in the dimly lit confines of their hideout, where the air hung heavy with the scent of victory and deceit, tension crackled like static electricity. Sofia, her gaze averted and hands trembling ever so slightly, slipped away to a secluded corner. A secret phone call, hushed whispers that betrayed more than words could conceal. Miguel, ever vigilant, followed her trail of half-truths and hidden agendas, his heart heavy with the weight of betrayal. The truth, when it surfaced like a serpent from the depths, threatened to tear apart the fragile bonds that held them together. Sofia's deal with a rival gang, a pact forged in shadows and sealed with stolen diamonds, cast a shadow over their hard-won triumph. Loyalty, once their unbreakable shield, now lay shattered at their feet. The hideout, once a sanctuary from the world's prying eyes, now crackled with an electric tension that could ignite at any moment. Javier Gonzales, his eyes ablaze with a righteous fury, confronted Sofia with a gun in hand and justice in his heart. Betrayal, a bitter taste on his tongue, threatened to poison the air between them. Sofia stood defiant, her chin lifted and voice steady despite the danger that loomed large. Miguel, torn between loyalty to his comrades and the harsh truth of Sofia's choices, stepped forward with a plea for reason amidst the storm of emotions. Carlos, a silent sentinel of strength and resolve, watched from the sidelines, his presence a silent warning to any who dared defy their leader's wrath. In that crucible of conflict, where trust hung by a fragile thread, decisions would be made that would shape the destiny of the Gonzales Gang. With Sofia vanished into the night, leaving behind a trail of shattered trust and unanswered questions, the Gonzales Gang found themselves at a crossroads. Javier Gonzales, a lion among men with a heart as hard as diamond, surveyed the aftermath of betrayal with a steely resolve. Miguel, now elevated to the role of Javier's trusted lieutenant, grappled with the weight of leadership and the scars of betrayal etched into his soul. Carlos, the stalwart enforcer whose loyalty knew no bounds, vowed to hunt down the stolen diamonds and the specter of Sofia's treachery that haunted their every step. As dawn broke over the sprawling cityscape of Mexico City, casting long shadows over their path forward, the Gonzales Gang stood united in their resolve to weather the storm that had threatened to tear them apart. Trust, they knew now, was a currency earned through blood and sacrifice, and their bond forged in the crucible of betrayal would only grow stronger with time. The hunt for the stolen diamonds led the Gonzales Gang deeper into the underbelly of Mexico City's labyrinthine streets, where danger lurked around every corner and alliances shifted like sand in the desert. Javier Gonzales, a shadow among shadows, led his pack of loyal wolves through dimly lit alleys and smoke-filled dens of vice. Miguel, his trusted lieutenant, walked at his side with a determination etched into the lines of his face. Carlos, a silent sentinel of brute force and unwavering loyalty, prowled on the fringes, ready to strike at a moment's notice. Their pursuit of justice and retribution brought them face to face with rival gangs and dangerous alliances forged in the crucible of greed and desperation. Each step forward brought them closer to the truth, but also deeper into a web of deceit that threatened to ensnare them all. The streets of Mexico City were a battleground as the Gonzales Gang closed in on a key member of the rival gang. In the dead of night, under the flickering glow of street lamps that cast long shadows over the cobblestone streets, Javier Gonzales orchestrated a deadly dance of deception and vengeance. Miguel, his muscles coiled like a predator, ready to strike, led the ambush with a steely resolve. Carlos, a mountain of muscle and menace, moved with a primal grace that belied his raw power. The air crackled with tension as gunfire erupted, echoing through the labyrinthine alleys and abandoned warehouses that served as their battlefield. In the chaos and carnage that ensued, alliances were tested and loyalties were forged in the crucible of combat. The Gonzales Gang fought with the ferocity of cornered beasts, driven by a thirst for justice and a hunger for retribution. The interrogation room was a stark contrast to the chaos outside, a small oasis of calm in the storm of violence and betrayal that surrounded the Gonzales Gang. Javier Gonzales, a tower of strength and resolve, loomed over a captured member of the rival gang with a presence that brooked no defiance. Miguel, his trusted lieutenant, stood at Javier's side with a mix of determination and apprehension etched into the lines of his face. Carlos, the silent enforcer whose loyalty knew no bounds, watched from the shadows with a vigilance that mirrored the darkness in his soul. The revelation that unfolded in that dimly lit room shook the very foundation of the Gonzales Gang to its core. Secrets long buried rose to the surface, threatening to drown them all in a sea of deception and intrigue. Miguel's discovery of a familial connection to the rival gang member added a layer of complexity to their already precarious situation, forcing them to confront ghosts from their past and the harsh realities of their present. The abandoned warehouse stood as a silent witness to the tumultuous reunion between Miguel and Alejandro, estranged brothers torn apart by the currents of fate and the choices they had made. Javier Gonzales, a shadow among shadows, watched from the sidelines with a stoic demeanor that masked the storm of emotions raging within. Miguel, his muscles taut with tension and eyes locked in a fierce gaze, faced Alejandro with a mixture of anger and sorrow etched into the lines of his face. Alejandro, a mirror image of Miguel yet marked by the scars of a different path, stood with a hardened resolve that belied the turmoil in his heart. In the crucible of their confrontation, old wounds were reopened and truths long buried were brought to light. The brothers grappled with the weight of their shared past and the divergent paths that had led them to this pivotal moment. For the Gonzales gang, their future hinged on the fragile truce forged between Miguel and Alejandro, a truce that held the key to recovering the stolen diamonds and navigating the treacherous waters of Mexico City's criminal underworld. The plaza, bathed in the soft glow of city lights that shimmered like distant stars in the night sky, served as the backdrop to the final exchange between the Gonzales gang and their rivals. Javier Gonzales, a lion among men with a heart as hard as diamond, stood with Miguel and Carlos at his side, ready to reclaim what was rightfully theirs. On the opposite side of the plaza, Alejandro and his gang members stood with a briefcase containing the stolen diamonds, their faces a mask of defiance and resignation. The air hung heavy with the weight of unspoken threats and fragile alliances on the brink of collapse. As the tension reached its zenith, a betrayal unfolded that threatened to shatter the fragile truce and plunge them all into a bloody conflict. Javier's resolve was tested as never before, his leadership and the aftermath of the final exchange left the plaza bathed in an eerie calm, a stark contrast to the tension and violence that had almost erupted. The Gonzales gang, battered but unbroken, stood united as the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, casting long shadows that stretched across the city. Javier Gonzales, a figure of resilience and unyielding determination, surveyed the scene with a thoughtful expression. The diamonds, now safely back in their possession, symbolized not just their material victory, but the preservation of their legacy in the underworld of Mexico City. Javier's sharp features softened ever so slightly as he turned to his loyal lieutenants. Miguel, now firmly established as Javier's right-hand man, bore the weight of their recent trials with a newfound maturity. His muscular frame, tense from the night's events, slowly relaxed as he exchanged a meaningful glance with Carlos. The towering enforcer, ever the silent sentinel, nodded in acknowledgement, his presence a reassuring anchor in the turbulent sea of their lives. Together, they reflected on the journey that had brought them here, marked by betrayal, bloodshed, and hard-won loyalty. The shadows of the past still loomed, but the light of a new dawn promised a future forged from the strength of their bonds and the lessons learned from their trials. As the city awoke to a new day, the Gonzales gang stood poised at the threshold of a new beginning. Their path forward would not be easy, fraught with challenges and threats, both known and unforeseen. Yet, in the quiet resolve of their unity, they found the strength to face whatever lay ahead. The city of Mexico, with its labyrinthine streets and hidden dangers, was their domain, and they would defend it and each other with every ounce of their being. In the end, it was not just the diamonds they had reclaimed, but their trust in one another and the unbreakable bond that defined them as the Gonzales Gang. And so, with the dawn of a new day, they stepped forward into the future, ready to face whatever it might hold.